Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be pulling Void Shards. As you can see, the portal is purple, so that can only mean one thing. It's a ×2 Void Shard event. And we also have a ×10 for this champion, Shuzen the Valorous. I actually don't know anything about Shuzen. And I probably need to look at her kit. But if I pull her, I'll look at her kit and we'll go into it. If not, it doesn't really matter on this video because I won't have her, so there's not really any need to talk about her. But yep, it's definitely a ×2 Void Shard event. I've got 45 on this account and I've got about 45 to 50 on the other account. So all in all, we're pulling nearly 100 Void Shards and hopefully we can get some legendaries. And other than that, there's no other news really. I'm trying to make a couple of videos on some sort of tips and tricks for people, but otherwise there isn't really much going on in the game. Just keep grinding, keep playing Void Shards until the next fusion or something like that, or the next big event, or the next guaranteed champion. So I'm just sort of building up my resources, as you can see up here, just getting ready for the next sort of big thing that's going to happen. And before we get pulling shards, guys, if you like my content and want to see more of it, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Subscribing makes an absolute huge amount of difference for me. I think on one of my last videos, I was about 120 subscribers, and then that video absolutely blew up. I'm now on about 170. So my next big goal is going to be 200 subscribers. If I can get 200 subscribers, I know that I'm making content that people enjoy and want to see more of. So absolutely, if you like my content and want to see more of it, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into pulling shards. So, on to the first 10 pull, and I think this video is going to be a really quick one today, really, because there's not much else going on in the game. I mean, if I end up pulling some crazy Void Legendaries, then I might have something a bit more to talk about, but otherwise, it's just I'm going to pull these shards, I'm going to talk about any legendaries that I get, I'll go through their kit and sort of talk about where they're good in the game, but otherwise, I haven't really got much else to talk about in the game. So we've got Inquisitor Shamel here, Towering Titan, and Ragnar Gold Gleam, that's the one. So Inquisitor, a great champion, really good for Hydra, because he counters for every debuff on your team or their team or whatever it is. He's in my setup. I can't quite remember. He's in my setup for Hydra though, and he's a really good champion to have. And Renegade, the sort of smaller version of Prince Kaimar, can do the reset of all your allies' skills. On to the next temple. A legendary. I'm looking for all of the big Void legendaries. I'm looking for Sifi, Krisk, Leorius, I would take actually at this point. I think I'm getting owned by Leorius in Arena, so I would love one for myself. I think he's a Void. I would absolutely love one for myself just so I can sort of poke other people in the eye. Ethlen the Golden, the only epic on this 10 pull. Don't know anything about him actually, but a Void epic is always alright. So he's got a shield on his A1. Block active skills for 2 turns, and then a fear. Enemies not under block active skill, and then places a increase crit damage and increase accuracy on himself for 3 turns and 2 turns in turn. And then on his passive, ignores 10% of defense when attacking support, defense, and HP champions. So, I mean, pretty niche champion. Not really much else to say there. I don't think I'm going to build him, but maybe one day he might be one of the big brains in Raid. We'll say he's one of the best champions in the game, and then I'll build him. But at the moment, I think he's just gonna go in the vault. On to the next 10 pull. So yeah, any of those sort of big name Void legendaries, I will absolutely. And there he is. There's one. Okay, Vizix the Unbowed, so a login champion, and actually a champion that got a buff some time ago, I would say, and is actually really good. I use her in Hard Doom Tower for the waves and for crowd control and stuff like that. So we'll go into her kit. So on her A1, attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has an 80%, 100 when booked, chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 15%. Fills this champion's turn meter equal to the amount the target loses. On her A2, attacks all enemies, has a 75, 100 when booked, chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Also places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion. And then on a 3, attacks all enemies, places a provoke debuff for 1 turn, places a shield buff on this champion equal to 20% of their max HP for 2 turns. And she also has allied defense in Faction War. So a really good champion, and I definitely think if as she is a login champion, it's definitely worth building her out when you get her, because she just helps so much in wave content for sort of crowd control and stuff like that. And I think early game in those low stages of dungeons, she can be really useful if you've got her with enough accuracy, but also in turn exactly the same thing for end game when you're doing hard Doom Tower and stuff like that. She could be a really good champion for that. So definitely a champion good to have. I don't know if I need a dupe of her. I think she'll probably just go into Faction Guardians and I won't really build her. On to the next 10 pull. I think that's probably going to be my only legendary on this account. But, you know, you never know. We're going to get a Krisk C-feed back-to-back. And I will probably throw my laptop out the window, to be honest, because I don't know if I'll be able to sort of control myself if that happens. We've got a Broadmoor and a Leia Life Braid. Ayla Life Braid. Don't know anything about this champion either, but again, a Void epic. Both Sylvan Watches that I've talked about so far. I'll just quickly run over our kit. Restores max HP on her A1. Places a increase accuracy on all allies and has a 75, 100% when booked chance to sleep an enemy, and then places block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns and has a bit of a heal on her. So actually that could be quite a good champion. Block debuffs for 2 turns, quite be good for clan boss, especially early game clan boss if you want to block the Spirit Affinity clan boss, decrease speed and stun at the same time. So it could be quite a good champion for that. Has a 12% chance of activating instant turn effect on this champion or an ally after using any active skill. If there are any multiple champions in the team with this skill, only one will activate. So that's quite interesting. So it looks like she can just reset someone's ability, but I don't know if you get to pick which ability it is or if it's going to be at random. It doesn't actually say. But enough of that. I don't need to talk about epics necessarily. I think that's all my 10 pulls, 4 10 pulls, and then 5 individual. I don't think I need to talk about that champion anymore. It's a Void epic, which is quite cool, but not an epic that I need or I'm going to use. Painkeeper, really good for a budget man-eater build. Otherwise, don't really know what Painkeeper could be used for. A Tree Shield Knot, really cool looking champion, I think. I think more champions could look like that. I'd be pretty happy with that. And another epic, Towering Titan. On to the next one. Another epic. This is quite a good pull, actually. Umbral Enchantress, a really good champion for CC, I think. Block buffs. She's got block buffs and a unkillable with provoke. Yeah, so she's quite good at CC. That's what people mostly use her for. I've never really found a use for her, or necessarily might have potentially not even ever built her out. On to the last epic though, and it's a rare, of course it is, and it's another Painkeeper. Just on the subject of Painkeeper, I said she's quite good for an unkillable clan boss team, a budget man-eater unkillable team, but she's also really good for the Iron Twins if you can get more than one of her and you can get their speed up, because you can reset the skills of your champions. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'll go onto my other account and I'm doing exactly the same over there, and I'll pull those shards. And here we are on the Galek account, guys, and I guess let's just jump straight into it. We've got 49, so nearly 50 Void Shards, and I'll just go for the first temple. I've got a Sifi on my other account, but I don't have Sifi on this account, so I would be made up if I had her on both accounts, because she's such a great champion. But again, just like on this account as on my other, a Krisk, a Leorius, a Sifi, a Baron, all of those big hitting names that we know about and talk about all the time. I'd love any of those champions. First temple though, it is all rares, so it's not looking good for legendaries for me today. We'll keep going though and see what we get. Not all rares again. There's one epic. A Skullcrown. Okay, Skullcrown, really good champion. Actually, still have Skullcrown built for an arena team on this account, in fact. And she's part of a blender team with Sinesha. And Faceless, not a very interesting champion. Don't need to talk about him. On to the next temple. Doesn't look like we're going to get as much luck on this one. Umbral Enchantress. Ruggnor Gold Gleam again. So, I mean, we've had exactly the same champions on both accounts. It's not very fun, is it? It's not very exciting. Hopefully we can get a legendary out of it though, and my day will be made, because Void legendaries are hard to get. So So I'll take any of them that I can get, really. On to the next one, though. Still not very interesting. Exactly the same champions. It's like a secret times 10 that no one tells you about. Prundar, Ethline the Golden again, and no one else of note in that one. Renegade, Bellower, really good champions. Bellower's got an AoE on all attacks. And then we've just got the 9 random one. That was already 40 Void Shards pulled. It feels like nothing. They're the hardest shard to get, in my opinion. And they're sort of, I think they hold the most value because Void legendaries are really hard to come by. So they're really hard to get, really, really valued in my accounts anyway. And you pull them, and you pull 40 in 4 clicks. And it just feels like you've barely even pulled any. A Gear Grinder, on to the next one. A rare, a Fanatic. Yeah, Fanatic. On to the next one, though. Doesn't feel like we're going to get a legendary unless we get a clutch one right at the end. We've still got 6 shards left. Dagger, no thank you. Dagger's actually quite an interesting champion. Got a decreased defense on one of her moves. AoE decreased defense, so actually could be used if you have no one else to sort of fill that position. Kurzad Deep Heart. On to the next one. I don't need a Kurzad Deep Heart, so we'll just see if we get this legendary. Cavalier. It's not looking good, guys. I don't think I'm going to get a legendary on this account. Scrapper, on to the next one. I don't need rares. I don't need epics. I just need legendaries. More legendaries, please. Doomscreech, actually a really good champion. Hell Hades talks about Doomscreech in quite a lot of his sort of free-to-play videos and stuff like that because he's a really underrated champion. Really good. On to the next one, though. I've never built him. I've got a Seeker. This is basically the same champion, right? Looks the same. A Cavalier again, go away. And then a legendary on the last one. That'll just make my day. It's an epic, alright, an epic. And a White Dryad Nia. I'm not going to go into White Dryad Nia's kit because I only want to talk about legendaries. And that's it for today, guys. Hopefully you guys get a bit better luck. I guess I did get 1 legendary, it was always nice. I can't complain about getting a Void legendary. Unfortunately, it was a dupe, and unfortunately, it was one of the free ones that you get anyway. So yeah, let me know if you guys have better luck and pull anything better. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.